Welcome to the Integrative Shift, reimagining the future of medicine with pioneers in the field. In this series, we explore doctors' journeys from allopathic medicine to integrative medicine and how it benefits their practice, their patients, and themselves. Good morning. Today, I'm so chuffed to have an interview with Dr. Leah Murray in our series, The Integrative Shift, where we discuss how our medical doctors made the shift from allopathic medicine into integrative medicine. In other words, opened up to more modalities and more tools. And I'm so excited, Leah. Thank you so much for being with us this morning.
It's such a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Super. So, if we could fire away with I'm interested to know where this all started for you. What happened in your life? What was your thinking behind opening up to more integrative medicine?
So I was actually interested in this kind of approach from med school already. My fourth year uh, elective, I spent with Dr. Bernard Brom when he was still practicing in Stellenbosch. And I spent a few weeks in his rooms just shadowing him and kind of learning from him. So I suppose my journey started really early. Uh, but then I kind of got sidelined a little bit and spent a few years working in emergency medicine. I'm not really sure why. I mean, it was very diverse and exciting and suited me at the time. But the high stress and the night shift really took its toll. And after 6 years of that, I actually got quite unwell. I was really burnt out. I ended up with an autoimmune thyroid condition, and it was kind of the kick I needed to get fully into integrative and functional medicine. So I opened up a practice in 2016, and I haven't looked back since. I love this approach. I love integrative and functional medicine. It's a very satisfying way of working because I think in it being so holistic and you're working at a really deep level with people and the results speak for themselves. Yeah, that's a
Fascinating. I'm noticing a pattern here that almost all, if not all, of our members so far have emerged out of a personal illness of some sort. So your own battles actually had taught you to open up to look at things from a different angle. And so it's
absolutely.
interesting that the body brings you to where you are, isn't it?
Yes, for sure. Yes.
And so,
Yeah.
so what would you say is the main difference between how you practice before and how you practice now?
Yeah. I suppose it's a shift away from how we taught at med school. Med school, modern medicine really is disease focused. Which, in certain cases is absolutely appropriate for there are life-saving medication and surgery that can be absolutely indicated at the time. But we're not really kind of health focused at med school. So we're not really taught very well how to support health. And that's really the crux of an integrative medical approach is the body's got this innate healing potential. It's always in a state of homeostasis, which is aiming for balance, and it's doing the best it can under the circumstances. And so, what integrative and functional medicine does is support that innate healing potential and give the body what it needs in order to overcome disease. So, I think that's kind of the most clear difference between the two. So, moving away from a disease focused approach towards health optimization and supporting the health of the body in order to overcome disease. Yeah.
Interesting. So the main work for me here is support rather than addressing symptoms. Huh?
Absolutely. Finding the root cause and working there. So finding what body systems are out of balance and dysfunctional, leading to the endpoint symptom or condition. And we say we work upstream. So we work very much at a systems level and address what's going on in the gut, address the detox pathways that aren't working nicely, address psycho-emotional, somatic stuff, nervous system dysregulation, metabolic processes that aren't working nicely, that are leading to the symptoms that someone's experiencing, as opposed to just treating symptoms, as you say. Yes.
And then just for our listeners as well, you do also address symptoms if you need to, and integrative medicine does not cut out all pharmaceutical support. You just have both approaches kind of together, huh?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. And I mean, I see a lot of autoimmunity in my practice, and there as well, obviously our long-term aim is to try and, by addressing those systems that are dysfunctional, we aim for resolution or going into full remission. But sometimes that's not possible in very sort of late stages. And so sometimes we need to work along with the rheumatological medication and some of the chronic meds. It's definitely not something that we stop abruptly and try and change to only using natural meds. Sometimes both of them are indicated. Yeah.
So there's no either or here. It's holistic. It includes everything that's necessary for the body to heal. What would you say is, do you have a special interest that you kind of have made, in a sense, sort of your speciality?
Absolutely. It's very much gut health. I find that if you get someone's gut sorted, so many other systems respond so beautifully. So all my new patients, doesn't matter what they walk in the door with, be it chronic fatigue, autoimmunity, cancer, mood disorders, it doesn't matter what it is. We always start off, my phase 1 approach is very gut focused because the gut, there's so much more to the gut than just digestion of food, absorption of nutrients, and elimination of waste. The gut's a huge part of your immune system. Your what we call GALT is gastric associated lymphoid tissue. So a huge part of the immune system resides in the gut. Our detox pathways, so 70% of the gut's function is detoxification. Your neurotransmitters, so majority of your neurotransmitters, your serotonin, dopamine, noradrenaline, are actually made and stored in the gut. So mood disorders, first thing you need to do is get the gut sorted. And then the gut microbiome, which is really my favorite. It's really my favorite subject. It's a fascinating field. I think we only understand sort of the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the gut microbiome or the human microbiome. And it's kind of an area that we really need to work on to optimize because we're exposed to so many things that disrupt our gut microbiome, and there are major knock-on effects. It's not just antibiotics or antibiotics on our food, pesticides that we're exposed to in our environment, chlorinated tap water, various other medication, and also, our gut microbiome is set up in the first 1,000 days of life, and not many of us are aware of that. So we've got this really kind of critical 1,000-day window period to inoculate a baby's gut with our essential keystone bacteria, that's not always happening. And now we've got so much kind of data coming out in terms of looking at a healthy, diverse gut microbiome in healthy people versus a really kind of decimated gut in people that are really unwell. So that's definitely my area of main interest.
Fascinating. So most of us, when we had babies, had no awareness about this, isn't it?
Exactly.
And so
Yeah.
do you focus quite a bit on babies and their gut health? Do you go
Not at
there?
all, actually. No. After I had my kids, I actually stopped seeing kids, focusing on adults only.
Yeah.
So no, I do a lot of pre-conception health optimization because, a baby, those first 1,000 days are very much
Mother.
yeah, mama, exactly. So a baby will generally receive most of the mom's microbiome. Obviously, contact with dad and through siblings and grandparents and pets and natural environment, the soil, etc. But it's generally majority coming from the mom's microbiome. So I work a lot to optimize pre-conception and during pregnancy to get the mom's gut microbiome as healthy as possible because that's what's going to be passed on to the baby. Yeah.
And then now focusing more on adults, also don't we impact hugely, the nutrition of our family, the lifestyle of the family? I mean, essentially, it's the parents who are kind of in charge of all these things, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Mm. And
And
I
then the
do,
more stressed the parents are, because I think if your gut is down, you're also stressed, isn't it? I think it's a two-way street, isn't it?
sure, gut-brain axis works both ways. Yes.
And again, that will impact on the children and their microbiome too, and their stress levels and their cortisol and all of that, which is currently quite an issue, isn't it?
Absolutely. No, I mean, we are all completely overstimulated. Yeah, we're dysregulated, I think,
Yeah,
globally. It's hard
I
not to
see
be.
that.
Yeah,
I see
exactly.
that online. I can't believe how reactive and
Mm,
defensive people are. It's like, wow, the stress levels on the planet is jolly high, eh?
exactly.
And now we have more stressors coming in again, as always. So
Mm,
also on the country level,
No,
climate level.
exactly. You have to work very hard to stay regulated. You have to actually put a lot of effort in. Mm,
I think this is probably should be everybody's top job is to keep yourself calm and healthy and to be the peace in the eye of the storm nowadays. Eh?
Absolutely. In fact, when Stellenbosch University used to have the Introduction to Integrative Medicine course, the postgrad
Yeah.
course, and I was lucky enough to do it while they still had it available. And the first few modules were all about getting you grounded and mindful. And, because if you in healthcare, you have to hold space for people, and you're only going to be able to do that in a really good way if you yourself are grounded and regulated and doing all the things healthy. Yeah, which I thought was really interesting. Yeah.
So is that not also one of the big differences also is the huge responsibility that we also expect our patients and ourselves to take for our own health? It's not, I'm going to give you a pull and that's it. You actually have to go home and rethink your entire life and how you're doing things, how you're
Exactly.
eating, how you're moving, how you're interacting with the environment and your people. It's actually
Mm.
such a big responsibility, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And this is why an integrative and functional medicine approach isn't going to be everyone's cup of tea, because it's going to
It
challenge them.
isn't.
It's going to ask them to look at what they're eating, how they're eating, everything. It's all encompassing. It's a biopsychosocial, spiritual, energetic approach. So yeah, if you're expecting, one pill to solve it all, then it's definitely not the approach for you. The thing is, that approach is not going to get you very far. Yeah.
And then we also have to deal with the fact that the people also have limited capacity now to take on, I suppose, all this responsibility of making a bunch of changes and so on. But ultimately, yes, if we want to live long and
Mm.
live well, it's the most important job to look after your own health, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
It's,
What I was saying the other day at a workshop I did is, we only get this one chance, this one
yeah.
wild and precious life, as we say. And you also only get this one very precious body to enjoy this life in. So it's more than just aging well or, looking good. It's actually about enjoying your one precious life that you get. Yeah. Yes.
I always say happy cells make for a happy person. It's if you do things right, you will also be honestly happier, even if nothing else changes. But happiness depends so much on the cellular activity in your body, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Mm.
So I'm also wondering from a SASM point of view, how do you see our role there in moving the needle forward, and what impact has that had on your life?
Well, I suppose, one of the things that was really highlighted during COVID times is community. It's one of our basic needs, and we're living these
Yeah,
really disconnected, insular little lives. And I think,
absolutely.
yeah, with SASM being our kind of community of like-minded doctors who either went into it for, interest's sake, or their personal journey that led them to sort of get into this type of way of working. And it's just so important to have a community to bounce ideas with, to sort of, yeah, just be in a space where you are working with like-minded individuals. Mm.
So the support is what you're talking about also. One of the things that I am most proud of is specifically how people share with each other and help each other and don't hog their knowledge, but pass it on freely
Mm.
to everybody who needs it. I think it's just such a beautiful space.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Mm.
And I think that's the most important part. Of course, the education and the ongoing webinars and so on. We are all curious people. I think that's one
Yes.
commonality amongst everybody. I think everyone's pretty sensitive and also curious to
Mm.
learn more and understand more and grow. I think the whole growth mindset is really key here.
Absolutely. And also the demand for this type of approach. I mean, all the integrative doctors are booked up months in advance. So getting more people working in this way is, yeah, it's critical actually. Mm.
So we welcome in anybody who's keen to open up and learn more.
Yeah.
And also, yeah, I think the other big difference that we could perhaps just touch on is the time that our members spend with their patients. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I can talk a lot about that. Absolutely. I mean, generally, I don't know exactly about the other guys, but so my initial consultation is at least an hour long, and my follow-ups are 30 minutes. I think that 15-minute GP consults is inappropriate for the type of work that we do. So it does mean that we spend a lot longer with our patients. Uh, and obviously that does then all add up. And I think that also plays into the waiting lists. But you can't get much done in 15 minutes. And even an hour, I find too quick. I want all the juicy information. I really need to paint this whole picture of what makes you. And it's also, once that 60 minutes is up, I then spend a lot of time formulating management plans and following up blood results, getting back to patients with the results, and then how that changes our plan. So there is a lot of homework that we make for ourselves, which isn't always sort of appreciated in terms of the time we take, the extra time we take with our patients. Yeah. But it's, as I said in the beginning, it's a satisfying way of working because we do see results. We see incredible results, sometimes bordering on miraculous. So, yeah, this body system of ours is incredible.
I just got the image of the body being grateful for a little bit of support. It responds quite well if we do the right things. Eh?
Mm,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yes. As Dr. Brahm always says, you don't have to fill in all the gaps. Yeah. Mm.
Start with the most important ones. Eh?
Yes,
Just for
exactly.
background, Dr.
Exactly.
Brom, whom Leah worked with at first, is also the founder of our society. So it's amazing that he was your first mentor, as he was also mine, by the way.
Mm.
So that's wonderful. He was my doctor for a long time. Yeah.
Wow.
So it sounds to me almost as if an integrative doctor is like a health companion that walks
Mm.
a long distance with a person. It's not just the in and out, and now you're on your own again.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. It's very much a partnership, a relationship, really. Because also, a patient knows their body far better than any
Yeah.
doctor. And I like my patients to have a vested interest in their health. I like them to get in tune with their body, to work intuitively. They, sometimes know exactly what they need. So it is this working together. Obviously, you're there as the professional guide, but yeah, it needs to be a journey taken together for sure.
And also, it sounds like you also encourage your patients to feel their own bodies, to be more self-aware, as
Mm.
opposed to just drug it out so you don't feel stuff, because those messages, that communication is important, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And also, talking about being dysregulated, the more dysregulated you are, the less in tune with your biology and your metabolism you're going to be. So it's all about kind of coming back into the body and listening and working with it.
And would you say a lot of people are walking around nowadays quite disconnected from their own bodies?
Yes, absolutely.
It's
And
almost kind of encouraged by the mainstream because, you have to go to work no matter how you feel,
yeah,
especially if you are in corporates or something like that. You are discouraged from listening to your body.
yeah, yeah,
So I
absolutely.
think
Yeah.
our current lifestyle and our modern world is quite brutal on
It
our health. Eh?
For sure, it's not conducive to health at all.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
why, many people are really not well.
yeah.
Yeah, we're
And
completely
I
out
think
of rhythm. We designed to, our biology thrives on rhythm, our circadian rhythm, our infradian with rhythm for women. Yeah, everything actually boils down to rhythm. We've got the rhythm of our breathing, our heartbeat. There are so many rhythms, and we're so sort of, as you say, disconnected. We're completely out of rhythm. That's a big part of what we do, is try and actually get people back into a better rhythm. Humans actually thrive on having a little bit of routine and a little bit of, getting back into rhythm. And especially with screens, um, cell phones, TV, all of that completely disrupts our melatonin curve, which impacts our cortisol curve, which throws out all our sex hormones, our thyroid. Yeah.
and the poor adrenals as well. Huh?
Mm. Exactly. Top of the
Yeah.
list, yeah.
And I think all the more so important that here is a doctor that takes time to listen to me, to hear me properly and deeply, and actually shows care and concern and devotes the time to my story and
Mhm.
supporting me on an ongoing basis. I think
Mm.
it's a critical time for service like this.
Mm. Absolutely, yeah.
And so, is there perhaps a last message that you would like to say to those out there who are kind of thinking about it, not sure? What would you say would be the most important benefit to a doctor who's considering becoming integrated?
Mm. There's so many. I think if you got into medicine in the first place, then you obviously do care and you do actually want to help, and I think just launch straight in, because you are going to love it. It is so satisfying because you do get incredible results. It's a very fulfilling career, because you connect with people on such a deep, beautiful, meaningful level. Yeah. And it's also, it's a very popular approach at the moment, I think, because it works so beautifully. So you are supported also by, big international functional medical doctors and hospitals and clinics. So there's a lot of, evidence out there, and drilled into us at med school as well, that everything needs to be evidence-based. And I think that's an important point, is that integrative and functional medicine is still evidence-based. There's tons of literature out there. So you're also well supported and backed up by that.
I
Yeah.
think this is a very important point because there are people out there who think that, this is not evidence-based medicine. It is
Mm.
absolutely not a shot in the dark and guessing about stuff.
Mm.
There's so
Yes.
much research, which is
Yes.
always so fascinating to get into also in the webinars that we offer,
Yes.
that it is safe and it is structurally sound and it benefits the doctor and the patient to work in a way that actually leads to proper long-term sustainable results.
Exactly. Yes. That's what we aim for. Yeah.
That's awesome. I don't think we need to see there anything further. It was really awesome to speak to you, Leah. Thanks so much.
Thank
and
you,
also
Elma.
for the work that you do and the really great service that you offer.
Thanks so much. Yes, thanks for
Thank
having me.
you.
See you. Bye.